Welcome back to Top Cheddar Sports. I am Bredesen.
I'm Victor.
And it is Wednesday, so we're going to be talking
What's up, my dude?
some NHL chalky, as
Time to get chalky in here.
I occasionally call it. So let's start with some signings and some
Absolutely.
extensions. So take it away. You start.
Okay, so the first one we have, these are a little bit ago, but this past week, Nico Hischier, 7 years, 7.25 annual value, average annual value.
With those Devils.
Yeah.
Great extension, in my opinion. I'll let Victor give his take. I love it for the Devils. This is a guy who's been incredibly underrated already in his career. If you look at his points per game over his first 2 seasons, it's been increasing steadily. He's hurt right now, off to a semi-slow start, but he is going to be a point-per-game player or close to it for the majority of his, prime. For the majority of his prime. So I really do like this for the Devils. That's going to turn out to be a very steal of the contract for them. And why not pay the guy, because they're not re-signing Hall. He already said he doesn't want to be there.
So I was not as big as Hischier. I also did not know as much about him, so it sounds like it's a good move for the Devils. Sometimes when I only know people through fantasy, it makes me lose sight of how good of an actual player they are, as we focus only more on their point production.
Right.
So I'm going to try and keep an eye out for him more. It would be great if he, after injury, got his numbers up this year, really played well for them while he has Hall and can take advantage of that and kind of get used to a scoring mentality. And yeah, we'll see if him and Jack Hughes can play well together in the future, assuming he stays.
Right. Speaking of good signings, Brian Boyle signed a 1-year vet minimum-ish deal with the Florida Panthers. Tremendous signing for them. He's the kind of player I think Joel Quenneville loves. He scored 20 goals last year. People forget about that. I'm surprised he was even unsigned at this point. So he'll fill in that bottom 6 there in Florida, and he'll do a tremendous job doing so. I really like that.
Hopefully that veteran presence can kind of get them back on track.
Right, yeah, semi-slow start. But I think with the new coach and everything, there's some new players. They're just trying to make it gel. So I think we'll see how they go. Though every year they disappoint, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And then the last bit of signing news, going off of that veteran minimum contract, Chris Stewart signed a 1-year deal with the Flyers. Again, just a veteran piece. Could be a bottom 6 forward fill-in guy for them. Stewart's game his offensive production has certainly dropped off in recent years, but he still has that very good physical presence, so that'll help out the Flyers there. Next, we had a suspension this week. So this is interesting, and just let me preface this by saying I understand Evgeny Kuznetsov did cocaine not during the NHL season, technically. It was the off season. It was with the Olympics. So I understand kind of why he got 3 games. But now, Valentin Zykov of the Golden Knights gets 20 games for performance enhancers versus cocaine for 3 games.
And a big part of it, which I don't like, because it's clearly still a different hockey organization that tested Kuznetsov positive for it.
Sure.
Was the fact that it wasn't the NHL's test. So not only was he non-season, but it wasn't the actual NHL test.
Also a fair point.
But yeah, I see where they're coming from with 20 games for this. I just feel as if the gap should be smaller between the two. So either Kuznetsov should have gotten more, or this should be slightly less, considering.
I agree. But regardless,
a quarter of the season.
Their young winger, 20-game suspension. They're not really going to miss him much, so it's like whatever, lesson learned. Hopefully he never does it again.
Hopefully.
Now it's time for everybody's favorite time of the week, your top cheddar goal of the week. And this week, it comes from CBJ, the Blue Jackets, Sonny Milano. Let's have a look.
Any chance you do, you got to use it. You've seen him pass a couple times, but as a shooter, he just got to unleash it. Left wing, across the line, next move by Milano, walking right in, scores! What a goal! Alex! And he scores! It's 3-1 Columbus! It's sunny side up here at Nationwide Arena as Sonny Milano makes it a 3-1 game! Pulls it between his legs against the grain and goes cookie jar past the blocker of Ben Bishop. You're going to see that goal forever. Cuts it back, not only back against the grain, but between the legs. And there, look at all the smiles on the bench. Yeah, Sonny, we knew you had...
Oh! My hat's off to you, Sonny. Holy crap!
Sunny side up, indeed. Love that little pun by the Blue Jackets announcer there. That was, it reminds me of that Thomas Hertl goal from a few years ago that literally made Marty Biron retire the day after he did that on him. Thank God Ben Bishop didn't retire.
Yeah. We're not ready
for the Stars' sake. But my goodness, I mean, what a goal.
That was disgusting.
What a goal.
Congrats to you. Bright spot for the Blue Jackets this
absolutely.
year.
That was, yes. And I just want to point out also, I love the cannon in Columbus. Every time they score a goal, they shoot that off. I love that effect. That's awesome. But that's your top 20 goal of the week. So, Sonny Milano, congrats. You are now in a three-way tie for first with Travis Konechny and Matthew Tkachuk. So, it's getting tight. It's continuing to stay tight. I realized just now we might not have a single player get 2 on the year.
We might not, but
it's
if you do
possible.
reach 2,
you got a
it's
really
gonna be
good
a
shot.
Huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
So now let's talk about the injury bug that's been going around the league. I'll let you start on this one.
Yeah, so a couple injuries all this past week especially. One of the main ones is John Tavares. He's out a couple weeks minimum. We'll see.
The Leafs captain.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out for them.
Yeah, so he broke his hand. He broke his hand. I think he's getting reevaluated in 2 weeks. So it'll probably be longer. So big blow there, obviously. Going off of that, David Krejci was just placed on the injured reserve today, which is Tuesday that we're recording this. Not sure how long he'll be out. He has only played in 1 game this year because he was on the IR to start the year. Came back, played 1 game, back on the IR, so we'll see there. And Mikko Rantanen, as many of you saw, had a nasty-looking injury the other night. He's still getting evaluated. They're not giving an update on him until tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully not a long-term injury there.
Big blow to that Colorado team, who has debatably, if not the best top line in all of hockey. So we'll look for their other playmakers to step up in his absence.
Absolutely. And then the last big injury, Nick Hjalmarsson is out 3 months. So a big blow there. Good shot-blocking defenseman.
On the bright side...
Well, let's look at the bright side. So there were 2 big names that came off of the IR this week. First one being Brian Little of the Winnipeg Jets.
Welcome back.
Yes, big part of their top 6. He'll go right back in on that as that second-line center for them alongside Line A and Ehlers. So a great news for the Jets, who kind of a shaky start to the year. The offense certainly hasn't been the issue, but Brian Little will only help that. So, and then who else? There's one other one.
And then the other one, Matt Zuccarello.
Matt Zuccarello.
Welcome back.
Zook!
Looking to play, jump right back in there for Minnesota.
Absolutely.
And we'll see how it turns out for him.
Yeah, that was their big off-season signing, obviously. Yeah. So they'll be happy to have him back. He's not going to, turn them into a playoff team or anything.
No, but
it'll be good to have him back.
It'll be great to have him back, and especially as many people expect Jason Zucker to be moved at some point, hopefully he can get used to that lineup before this day inevitably comes.
Good point.
Thank you.
Well done.
So
well done. That was an unplanned point that you just brought up right there. I love that. And then the last bit of news for the week, 2 veteran defensemen were waived by their teams. First being Lucas Spiza. He spent most of his career at the Flyers and Ducks. He gets waived. And then Jonathan Ericsson got waived by the Detroit Red Wings. This kind of came out of nowhere for me. He's been with that team for the past decade on their defense, and he gets waived. So kind of a surprising move there, as I guess they continue to go younger in Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, Detroit seems to be looking more at a rebuild. I don't feel like they're at a point now where they just need to cut somebody. Like, it's early in the season.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to waive him to make a sudden playoff run.
Right.
Or get some young guy some takes before the year's over. So, yeah, that's shocking.
Kind of a weird move. So, condolences to Jonathan Ericsson. I mean, I was sad to hear that news. That was very
Congrats on your
surprising to
career.
me. Yeah. Well, hopefully he could keep playing.
Right, but
congrats on your Detroit career. Yes. Sad news there, but
yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say. I'm just kind of sad now thinking about Jonathan Ericsson.
Yeah.
Well, anything
we'll
else?
see who Detroit ultimately decides to fill that spot with long term.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And I think that's
That
all
will
I got.
conclude it.
Unless you got something I forgot. I think that's all I got.
It's gonna do it for me.
That's gonna do it. So everybody, your shirt, by the way, I don't think it was in the camera. A little Dylan Larkin accent. Speaking of the Red
Shout out
Wings,
to you, Dylan Larkin.
He's a big Dylan
Yeah.
Larkin fan here.
Try and turn
He's
it
a big
around.
Dylan Larkin fan.
Get some positive notes for the Red Wings.
Absolutely.
After that. But yeah, Dylan Larkin, if you ever see this one day, huge fan. Love to meet you. Love all the college hockey players that get to make it to the NHL. So yeah. Thank you for tuning in to Talk
Thanks for
Surf.
tuning in. Leave a like, leave a comment, smash that subscribe button. Tune in tomorrow for this guy who's going to give that lock pick of the week
9-1. We'll see if we can improve it.
and all the other picks.
Yes.
And maybe I'll be in it. Who knows? We'll see.
Hopefully. We'll find out.
We'll find out tomorrow.